Alright guys, let's look at lesson 4B, which are electrolytic cells. These are different than voltaic cells that we talked about in the last one. Electrolytic cells, they are non-spontaneous reactions. There's no flow of electrons to produce a current, and they require an outside power source in order to get this thing to go. They convert electrical energy into chemical energy. And here is an example of a simple electrolytic cell. So this is primarily used for electroplating. So the electroplating is the process of adding a layer or a plate of metal on top of another surface or object. So when you have gold-plated jewelry, chrome bumpers on a car, those are all examples of electroplating. So the electroplating process. So same kind of thing. You have the anode and you have a cathode. And the battery is going to force electrons to travel to the spoon. So silver electrons are going to go from the silver piece all the way over to the spoon. So the spoon is negative and will attract silver plus ions. The silver ions will reduce or stick onto the spoon and plating it, and that's what's going to give it its silver. So all of those silver plus ions, because once you take the electron away, they're going to be ions, so now they're going to want to go into solution. They are going to stick and plate and change the appearance of that spoon. So the Ag bar, the silver bar, is your anode, and that's what loses electrons and will eventually disappear. So at the anode, your half reaction looks like this. You have Ag solid go into Ag plus, releasing electrons. At the cathode, you have the opposite happening. You have Ag plus gaining that electrons and becoming Ag. So if we were to compare and contrast voltaic cells and electrolytic cells, the thing that they both have in common is that you have an oxidation happening at the anode and reduction happening at the cathode, and the electrons flow from your anode to your cathode every time. The difference is that voltaic cells are spontaneous and electrolytic cells are not spontaneous. Remember, spontaneous means it happens on its own. Non-spontaneous means that you need to have an outside source. An electrolytic cell, the outside source is your battery. Voltaic cells make electrical current. Electrolytic cells need electricity in order to work. Voltaic cells have a salt bridge. Electrolytic cells don't have a salt bridge, and the cathode and anode are in the same container. The anode is negative and the cathode is positive in a voltaic cell, and in an electrolytic cell, the anode is positive and the cathode is negative. In a voltaic cell, chemical energy spontaneously changes to electricity, and in an electrolytic cell, electrical energy changes into chemical energy. This is a good compare and contrast. What is the difference? What is the same between the two? So this concludes your Unit 9. We'll see you tomorrow in class.